And hello, movie lovers. Tonight we're going to be talking about Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. We Like the Way is actually the name of the episode. But I also have Creighton Hobbs with me. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome to the channel. Comment below if you like what you see and everything. Don't forget to smash that like button. Just trying to welcome you guys to the community that we have for Movie Lovers Unite. And so, with further ado, let's get on with the show. And hello, movie lovers. How you doing, Triton?
Hi, hey y'all, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. I know. Sorry, I've been making this gangster film, so I get that New York thing going.
exactly. I totally understand that. And tonight we are actually going to be talking about House of the Dragon episode 5, like I mentioned before. This is actually called We Like the Way. I'm just going to give a little bit of synopsis of what this episode actually entails, and then from there we'll go on and give you guys our thoughts. So,
Yeah.
return to the Val, Damien murders his wife. Lady Rhea Royce, King Viserys, arranges a marriage between Rhaenyra and Sir Leonor. Mollifying Lord Corlys, the Valeron. Rhaenyra understands Leonor's homosexuality and proposes performing their royal duties together while having lovers. So that's just a small little tidbit of information that I have for the synopsis. But let me just say this. I thought the cinematography at the very beginning of it was really awesome to actually see, especially when you see those high mountains and everything. Also, too, this is actually the same location and stuff like that when we actually see the Hound and we see the little sister from the Game of Thrones. So this is the same area that they went to. Thank you, Abby, for that little tidbit of information, because I didn't even know that until I watched your video at Motor City Nerds. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be referencing Abby a lot in this episode because she actually helped me out with this. But the cinematography is really cool. I definitely like the wide shots and things like that. And of course, when we get into this episode, we actually see, like I said before, we wind up seeing Lady Rhea. She winds up riding her horse in this valley, and of course, her father or her some relative of hers is like, hey, let me ride with you. She's like, no, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Then we wind up seeing Damien makes her fall off her horse. The horse winds up falling backwards, and then of course he winds up killing her. And here's the thing that I liked about that, on how settled it actually was, because they didn't actually show it. So I'm thinking that, like, okay, we already have one gory scene already, so we don't want to gross out our viewers any more than what we have to. So, and she's talking shit. She's like, oh, that's what I thought. You're not going to finish the job. And Damien, he goes on and finishes it. But what's your initial thoughts?
Well, with the Veil, it's always, even with, you go back to Game of Thrones, they always remind me of when you go to a family reunion and there's that one relative that shows up and you're like, yeah, something fixing to happen. I don't know why, but that's the Veil to me. You don't know why. You like them for some weird reason. They're always invited to the family reunion, but it's like, there they are, something's fixing to happen, But like, I loved that almost cliffhanger. You didn't see the actual death blow. You didn't see, but it was just enough. That was excellent film work, excellent filming, storytelling. Because, coming from a director's point of view, sometimes less is more. And if you just see the person walking up, like, walking up with a rock, you pretty much knew what was fixing to happen,
Exactly.
So I really, I hate that, that she died, but I thought it was very well presented and very well done.
I did too, because here's the thing: Damien's been mentioning his wife throughout the last course of these episodes, where he just hates her, and to the point where you had a feeling that it was going to be coming, but you just didn't know if she was just going to die of natural causes or anything like that. But nothing surprises me with Damien. Damien is one of those characters, is one of my favorite characters from Game of Thrones, and of course, with them not having any heirs or anything like that, he's able to inherit their land. So now that's why he was at that dinner. So the way he knew that other guy was there, the relative of his
Yeah.
wife, he's like, by the way, I'm going to be coming for my land. Just letting you know. So to sign over that deed. But I definitely like that. And then, of course, we also see another thing that winds up happening. So we see the Tie Tower telling the Queen that it's her fault for believing in Rhaenyra, and that why he's actually fired. He wouldn't have gotten fired if she would have actually believed the allegations and stuff like that he actually heard. But because of that, that's why he's off. And he's also telling her this: if you do not go on ahead and nip this in the bud right now, you're going to have more problems than just me leaving. You're going to wind up having the Queen, which is Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra is going to inherit the kingdom, which also, too, people are not going to take a liking to because of the fact that she's a woman. And because she's a woman, she's going to try and prove a point. And by proving the point, she's going to wind up killing the Queen's son. So that way he doesn't get the heir to the throne or anything. Just to
Yeah.
prove the point that she is strong. But that's what I got out of the context with that. And then we also see another thing, too, where, basically Aegon, which is supposedly the Queen's son, has to be the one who rules and has to train her son to take over the throne before Rhaenyra even gets close to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's almost like it feels to me like the Queen and what's the Queen's last name? Hightower or something?
Yeah, she's a high tower.
Yeah, and O Town. It's kind of like there's little alliances like that. That's like little family things. Kind of like. But to me, where I haven't picked up anything, it's like where are the Starks? Where are they showing up?
Well, well, don't forget, this is also 200 years before all that, too.
Yeah,
So
we've kind of seen Lannisters and the High Towers, O Town. I'm like, where's the Starks? You got to show them around a little bit. Dang, man,
That's true. I'm wondering if we might actually get them maybe in the next episode or something, or maybe at the end of the last episode. Because don't forget, we do have a Jon Snow storyline that's going to be coming in for the spinoff show. So that might actually have something to do. Maybe there might be more Starks in that series.
Yeah.
So,
that's true.
but the Targaryens are on the focal point of this season.
Yeah.
So that's one sad thing, unfortunately. No Starks coming out of the gate.
Yeah.
But, another thing I want to mention is the king arrives, King Corlys arrives. And of course, on his journey to this, he's seasick. He's actually getting sicker now. And it's going way past the whole entire thing with the maggots with his hands. He's very gullible. And matter of fact, me and Abby and I, and tell me what you think of our theory, Creighton, we actually said that we think it's the Maesters that's actually poisoning him. So that way they can actually get more of a political gain and put whoever they think is right for them. Not necessarily right for the people, but right for them on a political agenda to get in power. So therefore they get rid of the king. So therefore after that they get Rhaenyra in there.
Yeah, I read in some interview that they finally come out and said publicly that the king is suffering from leprosy. So
interesting.
So somebody who I can't remember what interview it was, but I Googled it and looked it up, and they're like, yeah, the king is suffering from leprosy. So considering this fictional world and the time and this and that, I guess maggots and that kind of
Well, don't forget, during that time, their medications was passed on throughout years of stuff. So they're like, oh, this helped Master so-and-so.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, okay, if Master so-and-so worked so well, then why isn't he here to tell you how great the maggots worked? You know what I mean?
Now, do I think there's a power play? Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Honestly, I really would not doubt it with the Maesters because, it always makes me think of honestly Game of Thrones. The the maester who was bald headed, and he always said
Yeah,
those the cool little one liners and stuff like
I
that.
call him Gossip Girl. That's what I call them.
Yeah, yeah. So I wouldn't be shocked at all, honestly.
Right. And here's another thing too that I wanted to point out as far as this goes too, was the fact that, with the maesters, and stuff like that. Well, we actually see the whole entire agenda where basically we actually have one of the high towers. He winds up leaving. Now the other brother is in there now, and he looks like Littlefinger. He acts
He
like
does.
Littlefinger, dresses like Littlefinger. I'm calling him Middle Finger because that's
Yeah.
how I look at it. And especially whenever he's talking about the roses and how they bloom on such a day like this. In other words, there's actually a calm before the storm, this darkness that's overpowering you. It's amazing to me that this glory of this rose is actually blooming whenever you are full of this darkness that's about to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. He speaks in plain but riddles
Right.
things, So yeah, I can see the. I like the way it's done because it's a different take than the Game of Thrones, but it's like a familiarity to it. Yeah.
Right.
So to me, like I'm not an expert in all this, like Star Wars, I got you, but but Game of Thrones, I know enough to keep up, and I'm deep dive into it, but like I'm not like reading.
I'm not
books.
like Abby or anything like that either. I'm just a casual viewer of the Game of Thrones show and the House of the Dragon, which I love so much that Abby is like an encyclopedia for Game of Thrones because I can go to her for anything I need, and then she'll be able to pull it. And that's how I got some of the cliff notes that I got from her through text messages because I said, look, I know that you can't make it or anything, but can you actually help me out with something? And she winded up helping me out with certain things that I needed help explaining. But okay, so like I said, we have the King of Viserys. He winds up arriving to Corlys's kingdom, and then then of course, like I said before, we wind up having this whole entire exchange between the two houses, where basically what we wind up having is this. We wind up seeing between Rhaenyra and his son wanting to marry the both of them, and Sir Rhaenyra, the king's daughter, like I said, Rhaenyra, and so they question the succession of what they actually entail, and basically, okay, so what happens if what happens with the throne and everything? So basically, Viserys said this. Enter the throne will go to her if he dies. In other words, it'll go to the kids. The kids take the father's name, which is the Valerons. I think that's how you say. I forgot how to say that. And then the firstborn to ascend the Iron Throne, he or she will take the Targaryen, and then the dragons will rule the seven kingdoms for the next 100 years. So that's how they actually broke that down.
Yeah.
So then, of course, you wind up seeing see Corlys's son. He's engaging in homosexuality and things like that too. And even his own wife said, "Are you sure we want to do this? Because you know how our son is."
Yeah.
And this is not going to end well if it's caught out in the open. And he's like, trust me, once he actually gets to be inside of a woman, there is nothing like it. He's going to love it. I'm like, okay, this is just like a modern day type. Okay, if the guy is gay and he goes on and kisses a woman, he's gonna love her. No, if that's not what he wants, if he's not attracted to a woman, he's not gonna be attracted to her at all. So anyway, and so I also like how basically Rhaenyra is actually doing this though too. She's doing exactly what Damien said to do. He goes, look at what I can do. Because and she as well, if I was a man, I would be called a whore if I did that. Because she said, marriage is nothing. You can do whatever you want, do as you please. And basically that's what Rhaenyra is doing. Yeah. And she's saying, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to marry someone. If they want me to marry someone, guess what? I'm going to choose someone that's gay so that way I can go off on do my own thing. He does his thing and it all works out in the end. I'll spit out a couple of kids just to make somebody happy and that'll be the end of it. Right. So that's what I got out of it.
Yeah. And to me, the message that I got was it was basically like what they were saying at the wedding. This is a political arrangement. You
Right,
know,
to
it's
strengthen the
all
houses.
yeah, it's just a political arrangement thing. Which they did that back. They still, to an extent, royalty in Germany and England. All them royalties. They kind of still did that. It's politically arranged. You know.
Exactly. And then another thing I have to mention is this. Okay, so you have that going on, and then of course you have Sir Christian, which is probably one of my favorite characters, even
Hmm.
though it took him about 3 hours to take off all that armor just to bang, uh,
Right.
just to bang the princess. But you know, I liked how he said it. He goes, "Look, he's on the boat. They're by themselves.
I love
Look,
that
come
scene.
away, come away with me. Forget about all this
Mhm.
stuff."
Yeah.
Forget about I mean, you can marry and choose who you want to be with rather than somebody to tell you what to do. And she
Hmm.
just looks at him like, wait, I got this thing figured out, dude. I was like,
Yeah.
I bet at first she might have went with it maybe if she didn't have things figured out. But she's like, dude, why would I want to give up this just to be a normal person?
Yeah. Yeah. It reminded me too of the Game of Thrones thing. Like whenever Jon Snow was talking to Amelia Clark, I can't remember her.
And Marcy,
But
yeah.
yeah, it was kind of like he was pleading with her, "Don't do this. Just come run off with me and this and that." And we'll go. But it was the same. It was different, but it was the same thing. Let's leave it
Right.
all behind and go. You know, and I thought that was a very well balanced and very well done scene, to where, to me, that's what captured me. That's where I was like, oh, I like this. I do love this, because it was very well performed, and I thought it was just excellent. The
I
whole
did too.
thing.
And you know what though, Crichton, is this. Okay, so you have that going on, and then when the queen questions Sir Christian about, she goes, I heard about my daughter and that she was quarreling with her uncle. Is that true? He goes, no, that isn't true. And I like how he owns up to it. He does not BS it or anything like that. I
Yep.
respect Christian for that. He goes, yeah, I was the one who did it. And he feels guilty about it, that guilt and shame. He asked her not to torture him or anything, just go ahead and kill him right off the bat, and that's the end
Yep.
of it. But she winds up sparing his life, and then you can see this guilt that's throughout this whole entire episode with Christian, and you can tell that Christian really wants more with Rhaenyra, but Rhaenyra
Yeah.
just wants to keep him as a side piece, so whenever she's horny or whatever, she can go ahead and bang him.
Yeah.
And while the gay person of Corlys
Yeah.
can go off and do his thing. And then I also like how they actually uncover each other's secrets, where basically Rhaenyra knows that the son is gay, and then the son winds up finding out that Sir Christian is gay. But it's kind of like this: it's okay to fuck your cousin, but it's not okay to fuck
Yeah.
your uncle. So
I know. And like, I like that whole wedding scene where the two, you know, the two outsiders, the one antagonized Sir Christian. Yeah, or what was that his name? Christian or what?
well, yeah, he antagonized Christian, which is the
Christian,
White
yeah.
Knight, which is the
Yeah.
knight.
Yeah, and that's like, I was like, dude, that is the stupidest move you could have ever made. You're talking to a trained killer, Why would you want to do something that's stupid,
And to set him off even more than what he's already set off to begin
Mm-hmm.
with, because
Yeah.
because here's the thing, that guy does not know what that knight has been faced with even beforehand
Yep.
or anything either.
Uh-huh.
So here's the thing, Christian's head is not in the right space right now to even have a conversation with,
Yep.
and him doing what he did, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But okay, tell me if you did not get the red wedding vibe from this episode.
I did. I picked that up big time. I picked that so up. Yeah.
And there was that slow build to what happened, which is
Mm-hmm.
something that I really liked. And also, too, the music speeds up
Yeah.
throughout each thing is happening, I'm like, oh my god, someone's gonna get killed right now.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you have that slow tension that's built up into the party scene, and especially whenever the king's about to give that speech about there's going to be 7 games played out before the actual marriage, and then you see the wife come in with the green Tigerian, not Tigerian, but
Hightower thing.
Hightower dress, which
Yeah.
represents her house, and basically saying, you know what, screw the Tigerian,
And
I am who I am. And this is actually going to go to war
and
between the blacks and
yeah.
the green.
Yeah, because that's what I loved hearing that extra little tidbit of information during that scene. It says, you know what Hightowers, when they're wearing that color, means war, you
Yep.
know, and the way she uh, presented and the way it was just acted out, you could tell she was not wanting to be there. She's like,
No.
I showed up and I'm gone, and then she went and talked to her uncle. That you know, so I was like, I love it. You know, I was like that's to me it made it more fun to watch to me.
It definitely was. Especially another thing too is I like how Damien walks in there and he owns every single time he comes into a room. He just owns that room and that space. He just sits out there chilling. Then all of a sudden, the wife's father comes out there. He goes, "What's up?" He goes,
Hmm.
"By the way, I'm going to be coming for your land now. Just letting
Yeah,
you know."
right.
And then he
Yeah.
goes, "Well, you killed my daughter. That's just accusations. I'm
Hmm.
coming. I'm coming for your land since I don't have no ears to my ears or anything.
Yeah.
That's why I'm coming.
Um,
I'll be there in a couple of days." And then he just
yeah.
goes back to being who he is, and then he winds up going over to where you can definitely tell his eyes is on Rhaenyra. He wants to be with Rhaenyra now. At first, I didn't see it. Now I'm actually seeing more of him wanting to be with
Yeah.
Rhaenyra, and that's what he's after. And
Hmm.
so now he's trying to do anything he can to get with Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
And they start talking in their tone and their dialect, and then you see that scene being played out that we mentioned, where
Yeah.
you see the son's boyfriend go over to the dude, to Christian, and then that's when Christian winds up being the snot out of him like
Yeah.
meat.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. And to me, the interesting thing is like, okay, we've all casual watchers, we all known through watching Game of Thrones and stuff that the Targaryens, they kind of inbred with each other. It's like they all kind of married
Within the family.
within their family type thing. And, so it's like, to me as a watcher, I don't like that. I'm like, that's strange. Most people, I think that's weird, but it is a strange family. Yeah, honestly, I mean, how many families rides dragons? Only
Right.
one. I mean,
But you see, though, also too, I look at it as through the biblical sense, though, too, not just because don't forget it says be fruitful and be multiply, and at that time they had to mate with each other because of the fact that there was no way of any other people to actually reproduce. So at that time there was that whole entire thing with ancestry within the Bible system itself. So that's why I'm like, okay, so this in a sense kind of makes sense in a way because of the fact it might be going into those kind of terms within the show, but at the same time, it
mm,
bothers me. It's like,
yeah, that's
you're
yeah,
right. I'm not
yeah.
trying to justify it. I'm just saying how
It's kind of yeah,
how
yeah,
it's being played out in a certain kind of way. But
yeah,
yeah, but like I
and
said, it's not okay to fuck your uncle, but it's okay to fuck your cousin. So
yeah,
that's basically what I. But
yeah.
so then we also see the whole entire deal where Sir Christian winds up feeling bad yet again. He leaves, and then once again, the Queen comes out to him, and he's
Hmm.
about to kill himself. And I thought he was going to off himself.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if the Queen and him are going to get together now. And then
Or
that's
yeah,
I
I
have to go back to game.
maybe
Well, here's the thing.
yeah,
I need to go back to Game of Thrones. I need to ask Abby this,
yeah.
but I'm not sure if she winds up sleeping with Sir Christian, and that's where Jon Snow comes from, or if it's
I'm
winded up sleeping together. So I can't remember offhand on how that's connected because I remember like in the last season they actually told us that he was a bastard. He became through the royal family of the Tigerians.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what's the connection and how that's fit in. So that's something I have forgot. So that's something I
Yeah.
gotta ask Abby on that part.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It was a real cliffhanger moment. To me, I got it from there's definitely some kind of alliance, some type of alliance with Sir Christian and the Queen, now, what that would be, I don't know. It's probably going to come out on the next episode, I think. Because isn't the next episode like supposed to do a time jump?
Yeah, there's gonna be a time jump for this one. And I also want to mention this too. So you know how we've talked about the colors and stuff like that with the
Mm-hmm.
Queen. So get this: the people who read the book didn't even know that either.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was something new that Abby had pointed out. That it was a little bit of insight that she didn't know about. So by her showing up in her house colors and saying "fuck the Tigerians," essentially, also their house words are "we like the way." Then also too, the think the Maesters. Okay, she says that she thinks the Maesters via Harbor Hightower is responsible for what's going on. I think the Maesters. Then she also says, "I think you were right about them fucking with the throne, but watch that scene when that younger Maester looks at the older
Yeah.
one, like what WTF? Why won't we try?"
Yeah. I'm always try. Yeah.
Then Otto Hightower knew off rip the he isn't living long.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. So then also too, someone said some line of dialogue of like, "What color does the flame burn in Old Town when the High Towers call their banners?" She said green. We talked about that. Also, someone at work gave her some fancy. Okay, that's something different.
Oh.
So so, anyways, that's everything that Abby had covered with me on stuff that I was asking questions about because there were certain things that I was confused on and wanted to get understand it.
Right.
But
Right.
this I definitely like this, and of course you have the private celebration, and then you see the blood on the floor where Viserys winds up falling to the floor and passing out. So it's
Yeah.
like blood is being poured over this marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and there's going to be even more bloodshed. So it's like a little bit of
Yeah.
foreshadowing into what we're getting.
Now, see, I've always wondered too, like after the blood that was on the floor, where that whatever
Viserys?
the no the gay guy he
Okay.
died. Yeah, okay, I can't remember his name. So, but the rats when they were getting married, the marriage was happening, right, and we were watching that, and then they showed the rats that come up to the blood and was tasting the blood. Which rat's going to do that? But I wonder if there was a symbolism of some sort with that. The rats coming up to the blood.
Well, don't forget, we actually do have rats within the kingdom itself,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
too. So we could actually deal with someone that could be ratting somebody out. We could deal
Yeah.
with something like that. But yeah, I could actually see maybe a little bit of foreshadowing within that. Also, too, blood being
Yeah.
poured uh over this whole entire event. Also, too, with the marriage. So there's going to be a lot of blood on everybody else's hands between this
Mm-hmm.
marriage and between the things to come.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it was just, I was like, there's some type of symbolism, but I can't put my finger on it. I know it's there. So you'll have to ask Abby what, what
I
does the
definitely will.
symbolism mean? Yeah. You'll know.
But yeah, I think that's everything I had wanted to cover as far as this
Mm-hmm.
episode goes because I can't think of anything on hand. I think I covered everything within this episode because it was so good. The slow pacing, the
Oh,
slow build of that dinner scene. And then also, too, if you notice how awkward Viserys is whenever his wife walks in through the door after that, but
yeah.
he's all excited at first. And then it's kind of like that Will Smith slap where everything just feels awkward after that.
Yeah.
It's like, And we're going to go ahead and celebrate our marriage. Yeah, I am so excited. The king actually said we're going to be celebrating the marriage. Did you hear that? Yes, I am so excited. I am. But now,
and
right.
I know. And another thing too that I realized about this episode is that, originally the king was saying there's going to be 7 days of tournaments and feasting and da 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 da. But then after he passes out from being sick and then all that chaos happened, they immediately that night got married. There was no screwing around. They didn't even, they was like, somebody or the king was probably had enough strength and he's like, nope, it's going to happen tonight before,
right. Because I think it's the bottom line is this. I know that we wanted to celebrate, but I don't have much time left. I think Viserys knows he doesn't have much time left. Yep. And of course, if you notice in each scene, and this is how much I love this actor, and I know I mentioned it in like the first couple episodes, but if you notice how he's sitting on the throne, he's very uncomfortable being on the throne. It's not because of the fact that he's not comfortable being king. It's because of the fact of what he's going through himself with dying and also trying to show some presence of power at the same time. And now he can't show that presence because of the fact now it's actually weakening him to the point where he has to rush this marriage versus him wanting to take his time and do these games, these tournaments and stuff like that and have fun. And now he's not able to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it also goes back on the whole entire episode too, where the king and the Game of Thrones in the very first or second episode where he gets poisoned and dies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the shit hits the fan after he dies.
Yeah.
But, it's like little small pieces that are moving that I really like now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That I wonder did they greenlight a season 2 yet for House of Dragons or no? Or are they still deciding?
To be honest with you, I don't know, but they need to. Like, because views have been gone up.
Yeah, they have. They've really, as far as I know, it's strange because like when I remember back with Game of Thrones, people were, yeah. But now this one, it's like I guess there's been such a time gap from Game of Thrones to what's airing currently. It's been years for all of us, and now we're like, oh, something new.
It's exciting. Like I told Abby, I said I wasn't sure if I was going to be excited to have another Game of Thrones thing in my life. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then next thing you know, I'm into episode 5 now and just having a good time just geeking out over episode 5.
Yeah.
But we do right now we're at 5 out of 10 episodes. And the last episode is called The Black Queen.
Oh, wow.
And that's going to air on October 23rd.
All right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this actually plays out. So I'm excited about that. I know that you're also excited about your movie that's going to be coming out pretty soon, though, too.
Yeah. We're working on it. Whew. Yeah.
I know you are. You're busy as all get out when it comes down to that film, man. You guys are doing such a great job over there. I just wanted to mention that.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be fun when it gets out. It's going to be another, because, well, I heard a reporter say to me, he's like, yeah, we all need another gangster movie in our life.
Yes, we do. Well, with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for our Game of Thrones episode 5 review. Come back for episode 6. I think I might actually have Abby on Sunday instead of doing this on Wednesday. So go on ahead, tune in 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time for that show. So always until next time, guys, it's been real and fun. By the way, that's not going to be 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time because of the fact Game of Thrones airs at that time. So therefore, I'll be at 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. So come over at Movie Lovers Unite, chat with us in the live chat and all that good stuff. If you're new here, smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. Don't forget to comment below. And don't forget, we actually have Rossie's show tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And she's going to do a new segment called Rossie Talks About Movies, TVs, and Everything in Between. So that's going to be her new show segment on Thursdays, on once a week. And And then Friday is my She-Hulk after show review with William from Conversations About ... podcast. And that's at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Always until next time. Thank you again, my friend, for joining me as always. And bye-bye.